this is John Kohler with OKRod.com. I'm here stuck in the airport because I missed my flight because the TSA has decided to really pick through all my luggage and go through everything piece by piece, open up all the pockets, take everything out. It's completely horrible, and all they end up taking were my plastic knives. But they left other plastic knives, so go figure. But anyway, so I have a nice long 8-hour layover here in the airport, and I have nothing better to do than to make a video for you guys. So let me show you what I brought through the airport, which basically caused me to get delayed massively. So never do this if you want to get delayed, or just actually send it in the checked luggage. So what we have here is my roller carry-on here, and let me show you what's inside. This is really cool. I like to come to Hawaii about once a year and bring back some good mac nuts, or macadamia nuts. They're my favorite nut. And so this is what we got here. We got a whole, this is probably about like, I don't know, 40 pounds of macadamia nuts in the shell. These are the freshest ever. Have this cool little nut cracker with no sharp parts. And there's a secret to opening these nuts. You want to take a nut cracker like this. And if you look very carefully on every macadamia nut, on one top is like the little stem part, and the exact opposite, there's a little white dot. And some of these are actually getting a little bit older and more mature, and what the white dot is, that's where actually the root, if this starts to sprout, that's where the root comes out, so it could actually grow into a tree. And so we're gonna take this nutcracker here, and on the white dot, we're just gonna put it in there, line it up so that when this cracker comes down, it's gonna hit that white dot, and turn it, and it just basically cracks the nut open. And that's how it works. So you could have, fresh cracked macadamia nuts. And these things, I mean, these were just harvested. So these are like more like a water chestnut, and they're really not that fatty. They're really quite delicious. So what I'm gonna do when I get these home is probably put them in the dehydrator, because they should have been shade dried, but not sun dried. If they're sun dried, their oil it could get too hot and the oils could go rancid. So it's best to shade dry your macadamia nuts. So we're just gonna take these nuts and put them in the dehydrator to let them dry out a little bit more, although we could let them dry naturally just in my kitchen, although they might kind of get a little bit funky. So it's better to dry them out because these are just harvested. So I guess when this came up on the x-ray machine, they saw that there's some big solid blob around in the middle and then all these other smaller things around, which maybe could have been a, I don't know, bomb or something. So they had to go through this, they emptied them all out, and everything was really pain. So I'm really hungry, and all I got is these mac nuts, and I could eat a lot of mac nuts, and they are fresh, and they're kind of good, but you know what, I'm really thirsty. And so we have some coconuts here. So what we're gonna try to do here today is we're gonna try to bounce a coconut. So what that means is we're gonna open a coconut with no tools, using only the concrete underneath the floor here. So how we're gonna do this, we're just gonna take the nut and throw it against the floor first on the bottom part, and you can only do this with a kind of middle-aged coconut. If your coconut's too old, it'll be brown, it'll just basically bounce, it actually won't break open. There's another technique for that. And if it's too young, this technique's not gonna work because it's gonna basically crack the shell. So let's see, we're gonna just bounce this coconut. Take it, try it again. Oh, look, it's cracking, it's starting to crack. All right, so once you got the bottom cracked open pretty good, now you're gonna hit it on the other side. Having fun at the airport. Okay, look at that. All right, check it out. This is the part I love. That's how you husk a coconut in the airport. once you got a lot of the husk off, like I've already done, all this stuff is just flaking off basically. You want to be able to remove the rest of the husk. And basically to remove the rest of the husk, there's a keyway in each coconut. And where that is where the coconut is attached basically to the tree right in here, the stem. That is the hardest part of the coconut. It's hard fibers that basically allow the water to go into the coconut to form. And so that's the hardest part of the coconut to basically get open. And to do that, we're gonna have to use a special technique. And we're gonna take the coconut and we're basically gonna take the wall. We're gonna mash the coconut against the wall. And then twist. Then what that is going to do, it's going to break up all the fibers. That's going to then allow me to get in there and tear up these fibers and remove the keyway so that we could then remove all the rest of the coconut fibers. And you got to get in and tear just a little bit at a time. You could kind of dig in there with your hand and you could kind of see right where the eyes are. Once we get into this point here, that's when you can just take your hand and basically get your fingernails underneath the husk that's stuck to the nut and literally just pull. And this is going to take a little bit, and I am doing this with no tools except for the floor here in the airport and the airport wall and my hands. And this does take a little bit of strength. All right, there we go. Okay, I think we got one more piece. All right. One more piece. This stuff is stuck on really good. There we go. Husk in a coconut, nothing but my hands, a wall, and the concrete floor. The next step is now if we want to get into the coconut, we could look at the coconut face. Some people say it looks like a monkey face because basically there's two eyes and a mouth. The two eyes are usually the hardest eyes. They're really hard to pop through, but the mouth is relatively soft. So we're going to take my nail and kind of carve off some of the membrane. And then we have my handy to-go-ware. And we're going to take a chopstick. And you can't take these on the airplane. We're going to poke the chopstick. Woo! See that squirt? There's some pressure inside that coconut. We're going to poke that chopstick through the nut. Then we're going to take a straw. That's one good coconut. We'll be back in a second. I'll show you how to crack open, get the meat out next. No tools. Now we're going to crack open a coconut with no tools using nothing else than what's here in the airport. I drank all the water out. It was actually absolutely delicious. And the next thing is we're going to crack this in half. So there's a couple ways you could do this. You could throw it against the ground, throw it against the wall, but then all the pieces would fly everywhere and get really messy. You could actually take a plastic bag, put it in the plastic bag, and then hit it against the ground or hit it against the wall, and then it'd all break up, and then all the pieces would pretty much remain in the bag. But the way I like to do it, we found a nice edge here, the corner where the bricks, basically, or the concrete walls, come together. It's actually kind of sharp. So what we're going to do is we have the top of the coconut here with the eyes and the bottom with the little veins coming out. And what we're going to do is we're going to simply tap it, and right around, say this is the earth, right around the equator of the coconut, That's the weakest point, so we're just going to tap it a little bit at each point while we're rotating it, and it's going to crack in half fairly well. So we're going to get a nice point here on the wall that's fairly sharp. Just going to tap it, tap, turn, tap, turn, tap, turn, tap, turn, tap, turn. Well, one more time right there. There you go. Easily open a coconut in the airport using no tools. I did it, and now you can too. So once again, this is John Kohler with OKRod.com, eating coconuts in the long delayed layover in the airport in Hawaii. We'll see you next time, and keep eating your fresh fruits and vegetables. They rock.